welcome to another live. I'm very excited to have you guys here tonight. If this is your first time in my live, we do lives every Tuesday and Friday. We do Bible reading. So on Tuesdays, we do about the New Testament, and on Fridays, we do about the Old Testament. So today, we're going to be reading about Matthew, the New Testament. We're going to be reading chapter 5, verse 17 and on. And we're going to be reading about if Jesus Christ abolished the law. This is something that's very important to know, because I've noticed a lot of Christian leaders saying that Christ abolished the law, that even like, for example, some things, like, for example, the Sabbath, which is on Saturday, a lot of things of the law of God, which is in the Old Testament, they basically say that the Old Testament, we should not listen to it anymore because it's like the Old Testament, right? But this is not correct. This is not true, because when Jesus came, he said that he was not abolishing the law, that the Old Testament, we should do it, we should take it as legit because it's the law of God. It's not something that Jesus abolished. So this is, Jesus says this in Matthew 5, verse 17. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. So we're going to start reading about this, so you guys have an idea of what he's trying to say. So it says, the fulfillment of the law. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets, says Jesus. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. This is very important. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappears, not the smallest letter, not the smallest stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. That's what Jesus is saying. He didn't come to abolish the law. We should always obey the law, the 10 Commandments, and all the law that it's in the Old Testament. It says, therefore, anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commands and teaches others accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. So here Jesus is saying that if from all the law of God, if you take a commandment that's very small, for example, the Sabbath, which a lot of people think that the Sabbath, it's on Sunday, but it's not on Sunday. If we read the Bible, the Sabbath is on Saturday. That's how you can see also that the Jewish people, they worship on Saturday because that's the Sabbath. So they go by the Old Testament, right? The only difference is that they believe in the same God as we do. The only difference is that they don't believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, which Jesus Christ is a Messiah, as we know. But we should, I'm going to give the example of Saturday, because Saturday is something very important to God. It's the Sabbath. We need to take the Sabbath, which is Saturday, and take it as, like not work as in that day, etc. So this is something that a lot of Christians, we don't do, right? We go to church on Sunday, we worship on Sunday most of the time, and we work on Saturday. I mean, there's nothing wrong on going to church on Sunday. It's just that you have to know this. And for example, like, take the Sabbath, take that day to rest and like spend time with your family, rest, read the scriptures, spend time with God, and then you can go to church on Sunday, right? Because it's kind of hard to go to church on Saturday either way, because you're not resting in some way. You're still like waking up very early and stuff like that. So yeah, the Sabbath is on Saturday. We should rest on Saturday because God mentions this in Genesis, the first chapters of Genesis. He says that, the first chapter of Genesis, he created the world in 6 days, and the 7th day he rested, right? That 7th day is not Sunday, it's Saturday. So we need to know this. And there's many other examples. For example, about pork, we shouldn't eat pork. We should not eat seafood. From the seafood, you can only eat fish. And all of this is in the law of God, the commandments, right? which we are reading in the lives that we are doing on Friday, because we're reading the Old Testament. But yeah, so this is some examples. I'm taking the example of Saturday, which a lot of people don't do. And it's like, people might look at it as a small commandment, as a small commandment of the law. But Jesus says that even if you take that small commandment of the law and you take it away and you don't teach it to other people, you're gonna be small in the kingdom of heaven, right? So this is what he's trying to say. And it says, "For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven." So a lot of people think that, obviously we know that Jesus, he was always telling the Pharisees, he wasn't happy with the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, right? Because they were basically people from church, the leaders from church at that of Judaism, right? So he wasn't happy with the Pharisees and with the teachers of the law. And a lot of people think now these days that, oh yeah, Jesus wasn't happy with the law, right? He wasn't that's why he didn't like the. Actually, it wasn't this. The real truth, it was that Jesus, Christ didn't had a problem with the law. He never had a problem with the law of God. He was the word of God made flesh, right? And the law is the word of God. So he didn't have a problem with the law, but he had a problem with the hypocrisy of the Pharisees. Sorry, I wrote it down. So he had a problem not with the law. He never had a problem with the law. We need to focus on that. So yeah, for us as Christians, we tell people, oh yeah, you need to love your neighbor. You need to love others. You shouldn't judge others. But we are doing hypocrite. That's being hypocrite, because we should love our neighbor. We should not judge others. And we are doing it. And we teach other people that they shouldn't do it, but we are doing it. So that's being hypocrite, right? And that's what Jesus did. So yeah. So now we're going to read verse 21. It says, "You have heard that it was said to people long ago, you should not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to brother or sister, Raka, is unanswerable to the court. And anyone who calls their brother or sister, you fool, will be in danger of the fire of hell." So a lot of people, we can see here that Jesus didn't abolish the law. He magnified the law. So he added more stuff to the law. For example, the law of God says that you shouldn't judge others, right? That you shouldn't kill people, right? Because if you literally kill someone, you're gonna go to jail. Jesus tells us that he magnified the law. So he says, even if you judge your brother, if you call your brother a fool, you will go to jail, because basically you're killing your brother by calling him fool, by thinking in your heart bad stuff about your brother. You will be sent to jail. That's the same thing as killing your brother. If you think something bad about your brother, that's the same thing as we can see here that Jesus magnified the law by doing this. Okay, so let's keep reading. It says, "Therefore you are Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, therefore, if you're offering a gift to the altar, at the altar for God, and there you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar, and first go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift. Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still together on the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. Truly I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. So here God is saying, a lot of us, we go to church, we take offerings to God. We take offerings to church. We even wake up really early. We don't eat for a certain amount of time to make that our offering to God. But God says, your offerings if you are angry with your brother. He's saying, don't bring me offerings if you're angry with your brother. First, leave your offerings to the side and first go with your brother and fix the problem that you guys that you guys have. And then after you fix the problem, then come back and give me the offering. So that's what God is saying in this chapter. So I hope you guys liked this live. I hope you guys enjoy it and you guys learned something. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a video. Also, you can comment down below any doubts that you guys have. And don't forget that we have a live on Tuesday and on Friday. So Tuesday about the New Testament and Friday about the Old Testament. I love you all and God bless you. Bye.